Welcome to our lovely future humans and to those who are curious about how immature adults live small and mature adults choose better. The difference. So, number one, we're all imperfect and flawed, meaning we all have our good moments, our bad moments, but above all, those which are good vices, bad vices. Okay, so here at IHP, I get to share with you personal growth, spiritual growth. You all will know that if you're regulars. If you're not, I am attachment trauma educated and I care about every single bit of every person's well-being, and that's the mindset type, and the wellness, the lifestyle type, because I know you can live a good life like I can. And that's number one, body VVS, ventral vagal state. So we had a live, the power of mental rest on TikTok. We're going to have it on YouTube as well. Body VBS, emotional resilience, and growth mindset. We also had a short that just, I think, recently was posted probably. Emotionally immature adolescent adults model mediocre lifestyles, mature adult model smart choices, stable, mature, adaptive, rational, teachable. So I will leave you with this for a minute. Lead with you, not leave you, not leave just yet. I'm going to share with you what the short had in case you don't watch it. Children learn by example. Anybody who was a child will know this, and anybody who's attachment trauma educated also. While unimpressive, adolescent-minded, emotionally immature adults continue. Those are limited belief system people, but they're also people who are cut off from their emotional body, so they need help. Not all of them want it. So you are going to commit to your A game, and then you're going to accept, or at least that's what a wise adult does, is we accept, thanks to good, knowledgeable attachment trauma educators. There's no demon inside anyone. For the mystics who are 5D, we know this. The spiritual bypassers continue to have in 3D, 4D. Their unfortunate business. I'm going to leave that to the side right now. The difference, I navigate ventral vagal state. That's a mature adult. It's easy to spot a mature adult. Terry Rio, taking good care of yourself is taking good care of the family. And as he points out in this video, Daddy, I want you to get into the gym so you can get healthy. No, just Daddy, go to the gym. And the daddy's like, yes, I'm going to go. And the daddy's thinking, before I get a heart attack in 5 years from now, or something like that. It was a really good skit. So I like to quote smart human beings. Another smart one, Sadhguru. If you want your child to truly blossom, first transform yourself into a loving, joyful, and peaceful being. Also, Sadhguru, if you are not willing to be vulnerable, you are not willing to transform. Whatever does not transform is as good as dead. Thank you, Sadhguru. When people are cut off from their inner world, they're not transforming and they're not vulnerable. They're closing people out. So the maladaptive patterns of behavior support their small window tolerance and continue inner critic, outer critic, drinking, drugging, fucking, binge eating, binge watching, but we also have another extreme. Okay, so we have extremes on two ends of the spectrum when you have what is called an adolescent and an emotionally immature person, because they don't know how to discern with equanimity and love, like God is. If you haven't ever tuned in here, I'm a co-author of the book, The Ways to God, one of the 9 authors. We all have different paths. You'll learn from my chapter a little bit about my good Christian Catholic upbringing and how God is discerning equanimous love. He encourages, strengthens, he comforts and supports us. Whenever I'm around and talking, and he's always supportive. He doesn't scare, doesn't yell, doesn't do any of that, which is what I've heard other people talk about. And the cloak people are wrong, and they continue to be divisive. But I'm saying they're wrong. That's subjective experience. Science, however, is not subjective. It has data. And it proves that decentralizing the self happens to people, and that they can expand and have a good experience or not. And that the religious self is part of it too. He is not Patrick McNamara disproving God, but he is bringing forth data that supports how our embodied brain works. And by the way, like somatic therapists, that our bodies are all leading themselves to restorative embodiment, which matches with how I learned from Jesus to forgive, turn the other cheek, to also remember not to cast a stone, and that all my brothers and sisters have the kingdom of God, heaven, within them. So science doesn't go against that, and the only people who seem to not like that we can be kind to everyone are the same ones who are doing unto others that which was done unto them, which is why it'll be very easy to spot an unkind human being. They're not evil, they are charlatans at best. For those of us who are intellectually savvy due to being emotionally savvy and being taught, thanks mom, what a manipulative grown-up looks like and how to stand up for yourself. So I don't need her now that I'm a grown-up, and I didn't need her by the time probably that I was 16 or 17 or whatever it was. She taught me very well self-respect and respect of others. And so when I meet a unkind asshole and ignorant one, I can freeze in fear if they're a stranger who's really getting angry because my body's going to protect me. And I can also just, that way I can get out of the room. Children will learn by being taught how to stand up for themselves. My mother stood up for my twin and I with a babysitter that scared the bejesus of us. And it doesn't matter if someone thinks it's ridiculous. You don't scare children with a syringe. We were crying. She's like, I can't leave my children with you. They're crying bloody murder. And anybody who ignores that, well, shame on them, because that crying means something, and minimizing it is exactly what people who didn't get taken seriously as children do, which is why they're insensitive, and we will not be protected by them. We will protect our own selves. So when you have your 0-1-year-old and your 3 to 7 and you respect, you will not let anyone treat you like shit. And when teenagers make fun of you for being sensitive, you don't think, oh my God, let me copy them, let me change myself, oh my God, they're all evil Lucifers. No, you're all actual lacking integrity, all cowards, all getting into trouble. So Maria, as a teenager, I'm still the same. I'm just wiser now. Okay, so when you meet the grown-ups, they don't look fancy as they continue to use what is a very unimpressive mode, and then their mouths just keep moving with a bunch of other morons. That's how I actually feel about pseudo-intellectuals, which is why I'll take the being talked down to any day from anyone who's science-related, and they won't, but I'll take it. Because I'm cool with not having to prove spirituality, because God knows I'm not afraid of anyone disproving him. You can't. You can't make me not believe in God or my religious experiences, but you can give me your subjective opinion about it. Science, it proves things. They have what works. So anybody who says, I found it hard to believe, and doesn't believe in science, now I got a buffoon in front of me who was basically talked to by some moron about something that they'll believe in. I'm not believing in science. They have data, and they continue to prove it. Okay, so great. Wise adults are like, yeah, okay, mediocre adults, very not impressive. We will make sure to not spot them, because we will teach our children good manners. You don't shame, you don't blame, you don't fault, and you don't revenge. You can learn they're weak, because unfortunately, it's very unnice what happened to them. Let's explain. Sit down and let me explain to you. When you meet a child who's a bully, when you meet a grown-up who's a bully, let me sit you down, okay, and then let me remind you. You can cry, you can get angry, all of it in a healthy way, but when it comes to playing with other children, let's learn how to play nice. And then if you need to have an outlet. So anyways, just making up examples as I go. But my point is, when I was a kid, I was like 5. I dragged the little girl down the stairs. While today my mom says I was happy you stood up for yourself, I'm pretty sure she probably told me, okay, what happened? And I will have told her she threatened me to take a gift back, and you taught me that that was wrong. And so she wanted to take my toys that I had gotten, and she used a manipulative tact. I don't know what words I used. Point is, you can understand. This is called I'm aware of myself. I'm not going to justify it. I just said they taught me what was right and wrong. So if you grow up, you don't use the good, bad, right, wrong like a child anymore. Mediocre, immature, adolescent-minded grown-ups do this. Well, Maria, you're just going to have to accept that you're not welcome by the church, because I saw demonic possession, and I was looked at like a whack job too, so some people will reject you. I said, why did they not accept decentralizing in the self when it proves that all of us become what are God's children, perfection? And you just told me that it's because if they let everything in, it's bad JoJo, and then something about Adam and Eve fake story, and then that God doesn't need science, and those are all very not good anythings. And the fact that you saw this person doesn't make it untrue what you saw, but there's an explanation for what happened, and you just don't like it. And so basically I just dismantled the bullshit of every single bit of it, and it wasn't charming or something that lured me in, or something that I think any seriously intelligent and person of faith would be like, wow, they just made a valid case for them. No, it's hilarious. Like the person who spreads rumors about yoga bringing demons out of you. Excuse me? You just insulted an entire heritage because someone else told you that it's bad based on medieval stories, and you didn't learn about trauma charges being stored in bones, muscles, and tissues from Peter Levine. or decentralizing in the self and what happens to the embodied brain when something is happening and you don't go and anyway. So that's why I laugh at those who actually think they're smart. They don't make smart choices. They don't learn from smart people. And when they're learning not good information from TV on neuroscience, neurobiology, because pop culture and trending does that, they're actually not aware of the good information. So Sadhguru, if you want your child to truly blossom, first transform yourself into a loving, joyful, and peaceful being. You can only have the mindful rest within you when you're in your ventral vagal state. That's why it's not a woman's bosom, not a man's bosom. You know to self-regulate. Okay, so emotions are everything here at IHP, because otherwise you're not inspiring human potential. And that means that you protect your 0-1-year-old and your 3-7. But you don't need to feel that you have enemies out there, because our unkind brothers and sisters didn't choose to get whatever shit happened to them. And so unlike them, who continue to want to divide people in good assholes and bad assholes, we all can be an asshole. It's called, I'll accept that I can hurt someone's feelings not on purpose, that I won't be able to prove intent, but that I'm going to leave a legacy to children behind. You don't do unto others that which was done unto you or unto them. And therefore, let's stop with the ignorant stories of why there's whatever bullshit words, whether it's with political, religion, or whatever. It's seriously hilarious. I mean, I don't have a manipulator out there that I won't spot how they're playing to a crowd. The minute they open their mouth and they use what are called labels, which is why words are futile, someone telling me guru cult, wow, you don't know how to discern. The minute you presented it to me, I guess you must be uneducated or uninformed, or maybe you don't know, or maybe I should. There's no question that gets posed in my brain. I just say, no, a guru is not a cult leader. And then I went to, this was on a live, and I was not upset. I was neutrally answering, because that's the part of where when you're coming in with a sense of safety. Oh, also when you're doing the grown-up way, so here's the difference between a wise adult versus an immature one. You don't get defensive even when you realize that they're defensive and they're playing some bullshit little pokey game. Because that's how some people get off on things, is they get off on being quote-unquote assholes. I have plenty of experience because my teenagers. And so here at IHP, we do self-led inner growth mindset practices because you like to do the wellness lifestyle choices and you like well-being mindset. So you always expand the potential of you, rises beyond the unimaginable. That's what I share to inspire, live life, and favor human growth. With you, I share that. So children will learn that they have mediocre examples, and then they have adults who say, look, all humans make mistakes. We all will always fuck it up, because that just happens, but we don't always fuck it up because we actually know how to learn. When you're aligned, body, mind, heart, harmony, you don't actually fuck it up. You don't treat yourself like shit. You don't treat another like shit. You don't have sweet revenge in a way of it actually meaning something. I've used the words before, but no, you don't become a coward. You don't crave to get payback. When someone's cruel, like cruel, and I've studied all of the different books, I'll keep studying it. I feel very sad for them. For them to get to that degree of cruelty means that I don't even want to know. That's all I'm going to say. I just know one thing. It's not a monster in the sky. It happened here, in their home, somewhere. Did you know children get sold by the age of 3 to people that want to do nasty things to them? So with that in and of itself, and without casting a stone on whoever's selling them, because who knows what happened to them, I'm just going to say, you don't do unto others that which was done unto, because that's the whole point of tit for tat. Don't make shit happen. You leave a legacy behind that is better than that which was previous. So when you can forgive, it's because you understand cruelty means weak. Cruelty is a human being who didn't make it into whatever the fuck happened in their home, whatever, we don't know. All I can tell you is we have a body that protects us from the bear. Unfortunately, human beings are the bear. And that's why some people, they will deny themselves the opportunity to achieve their A game because they're terrified to meet themselves. Because that's how awful their first 3 years of life were. So that doesn't make me think, let me get payback. It makes me think every single human being who wants to call themselves a grown-up and don't want people to go heal with their trauma stuff, sure, keep talking. You ain't fooling a fool, because I'm not a fool. The only fools are the ones who want to continue to judge human beings without learning what they're made of. And then they want to deny science. Wow, deny spirituality if you want, because you don't have to believe in God. I already know that it's not provable. And why would I want to prove it? Plus, scientists, they make the magic work. They will prove things again and again and again. And that is something that is kind of sad, to see that human beings don't believe in their own species, that they need some story in order for them to believe in that which is what you're made of. When I hear Cosmos with Neil deGrasse, and when he talks about the miracle of life that we are, and he talks about it with the genes and all, I'm like, wow, it's amazing. It's like everything God and spiritual and angels and all of my ascended masters and everything that I learned from all of my mystic life and more, because now I know everyone can actually learn to think, wow, I have 24 hours. I'm going to spend it with the people I love, which is why a good life means that you have the wisdom to know why health is important, and why you're going to leave your children and all of the human being children with moderation. And then when we know of those who have the addictions, we don't talk about them in a way of using a monster, a demon, and bullshit words, because that's the part. You don't learn from stories. Stories are meant to share an example. And when someone tells me that these stories are instructive while they're divisive, because you want to move beyond the good and bad, the adolescent, emotionally immature person does not know how to do this. They're not using stories to learn. They're using to keep their fists. So when I learned of the whole Cain and Abel, I'm like, hey, God, you could give it to both. Like, did you have to do it this way? This doesn't make sense. Like, why would you do that? Why wouldn't you teach them how to share that? It's like, this is not nice. And where's Lucifer? There's no monster. It's like, this isn't something. Now, if you look at history, I can probably, if I wanted to, I'm not going to do this right now, explain to you, historically speaking, because humanities, social sciences, and how our societal culture develops, and how everything has a symbolism. So, tangibly speaking, we could talk about how things came to be in books with everything. That doesn't deny God or our belief. But the part about how people feel of this, where they want to prove, that's your left brain. It can't handle that two can stand next to each other. Science and spirituality are together. They walk parallel. They're not against each other. The only people who don't have the capacity to hold more than two things are the ones who won't be back here, and they're the mediocre ones, because they lack the capacity to be self-aware, accountable, regulated. And then notice, it's not personal. It's a conversation about different subjective opinions and experiences. This is not a research paper. You're not in college. And even if you were, like, this is the whole part of where when I'm seeing egos as a teenager and I'm grown up, it's buffoons. But then when I'm thinking of those grown-ups who want to say they're leaving a good legacy behind for people, children, the man who played Russian roulette, no, he didn't. He's not leaving a good legacy. I know exactly what's going on in his brain. He wielded his mouth to share with me every single bit of what he envisions. And that low frequency of his gut, that is not the health of a child or of a human. That is actually very much unhealthy. And it's served, our sympathetic still will serve us, so will healthy fear. We don't lose any of that which we're made of. The amazing journey of choosing to be yourself and choosing mental and emotional mastery is that you get to, it's just amazing. Infinite higher human conscious potential. I have no words to just say how awesome it is. I'm looking for something to share with you all. Give me a minute. This I shared with you yesterday. I think Steve Cole, PhD. Your experiences today will influence the molecular composition of your body for the next 2 to 3 months of your life. And he is a professor and human genome expert. And as the quote from the Polyvagal Institute shares, our daily experiences don't just shape how we feel, they shape us at a cellular level. And so he talks about how the biology responds to our lived experiences and the mind-body connection. There's also another beautiful person that shares, Irene Lyon. She says you can eat clean, move your body, take all the right supplements, and still feel like crap. And she says it's because healthy habits don't heal stored survival stress, which is why Dr. Immature talks about bad resilience and neuroception. So when people don't yet feel safe because they don't know how to navigate their ventral vagal state, they won't yet be healthy. And the sad part is their experiences today will influence the molecular composition of their body for the next 2-3 months of your life. And neuroplasticity, if it's not being used with the bright sides, every 6 to 8 weeks, new synapses are created with neuroplasticity. The bright side will help you to become more flexible, adaptive, coherent, energized, stable when you have the integrated brain. If you're using the dark sides, then you're wielding yourself shut in that which is going to be. That's why our 3D, 4D brothers and sisters, it's not that they can't get out of the ego. It's that every time they're presented with the opportunity, modern day therapists are trying to imprison us. They want us to all not have emotions. There's no emotion. This person it's dangerous to have no emotions. It's not true that it's healthy or, healthy or enlightening to be non-reactive. They don't know what the words mean. They're just reading it. Non-reactive with the nervous system means you're in your ventral vagal state, which if somebody knows how to do it, they're going to be like, yeah, I don't want to be my sympathetic. Why would I want to be my sympathetic? I don't need to be. There's no bear outside. And when there's physical threat, you'll always have the jolt. So people who have a flexible, adaptive, coherent, energized, stable brain are the ones who are the wise adults. The ones who think themselves wise but aren't are reactive. They lack the capacity to notice their bad habits, and then they lack the capacity to know every 24 hours matter. What you consume, what you eat, all of it. But if you don't get your body in ventral vagal state, then yeah, none of what you would do health-wise really does matter. But if you're wanting to tell me that you're a grown person and that you want to leave something behind for the future generations, well then, it's pretty clear why you would get your A game on and why you would not want to leave any of that which is unkindness just for the heck of it, which is where when people play with words and say demonic spirits seek to hurt, kill, divide, demoralize any people, and then they plop it onto an entity that they don't like. Or when someone will say evil is when they're trying to deny our humanness or something like that, our humanity, and they're plopping it on technology now, you're playing with words again. So whenever people are using these words to give labels and groups, that's somebody playing to crowd. And anybody who allows themselves to be played with is a child who is an individual who's not noticing their magical thinking, their adolescent brain, the fact that they're not able to wield two sides of the brain, because if they could, then like when I'm spotting them, they'll spot it too. And they won't get reactive because it'll be, hey ego, so listen, no need to get upset with all this stuff, and hey self, so when you're a grown-up, you actually have really wonderful conversations within yourself, and that's with all your child parts. And that's why you get to also protect yourself whenever you have people who don't care about the level of sensitivity you are. And it's not because they're mean, it's that they were treated with grandiosity or contempt, and they were treated in ways that didn't allow their actual child to be loved and allowed to be okay. So there's shame. There's shame in being vulnerable. It's not funny. It's actually sad. So as long as they don't heal their core wounds, that means the abandonment, betrayal, perfectionism, any of it. So I'm a healthy perfectionist. So that's why the adolescent essence is still here. Our adaptive child part, we can notice it. And so we don't let our, charges lead us. You actually take the opportunity consistently to grow. That's the fun part. Our potential, again, rises to the unimaginable, to inspire, live life, and favor human growth. So what I love most of all is that we get to consistently leave a legacy behind for the free will to choose to navigate that 5D frequency and beyond, to also choose to accept and love our brothers and sisters, all of them equally. The ones who want a low frequency, we don't tolerate, we don't have to have compassion, we don't have to do any we accept, respect. That's their free will. Sciences are out there, therapists, if they want it, they get it. They don't want it, they don't want it. There's laws, and we continue to do that. Our species consistently evolves. So the 5D collective, they do know self-care is taking good care of ourselves, our family. Being a leader means that you actually do know what science is and good education is, and then you understand when we got the ones who are writing, everyone has an opinion, everyone can chime on in, like Thomas Campbell points out, law of everything, or whatever his thing is. It's everybody's going to make sense of something, but at the end of the day, we all return home, and those who don't become their true self in this lifetime have next lifetime if they want, but we definitely leave behind a legacy of humans. We're flawed, we're imperfect, but we are unconsciously loved because our ignorance is fixable with knowledge, good knowledge. Our suffering is fixable because everybody can navigate their ventral vagal state. No one has to stay in rage or revenge or any of that anger, because you get out of the suffering bit, you get out of the ignorance bit, you get out of being a moron. And the ones who instead want to continue that, well, guess who has the short end of the stick? self-loathing, gut-wrench, torn apart. And guess what? Their short end of the stick of unkindness and unlovable people, what are they going to give us, all children of God, the opportunity to do? None of us are it. We are embodying a piece of it, whatever people want, yes, but what do we get to do? That's why with the lovely God, Jesus, Holy Spirit, the Trinity never broke. I have one opportunity alone when I'm meeting someone, and it is to turn the other cheek. Blessed are those who believe without seeing, forgive for they do not know, and remember not to cast a stone, for I am in flesh, and I am just as much flawed as anyone else. And who is the one and only who will judge everything? It is once we're all physically dead. So as long as people are not aware of their own empowered self, one to all the child parts, then they will always look out. But when it comes to, if you have faith in God, then you know there's only one, but you know the good behavior you're meant to have with others. And it's not by bowing down in shame. It is by being what is called a somatic empath. So wise adults have restorative, embodied, self-aware, accountable, regulating lives. They use the bright sides of neuroplasticity. They use the body and ventral vagal state. They love to do emotional intelligence, because why not? I mean, really, hearing it forces you to be courageous and strong. What, crying a little bit? Like, seriously? But curiosity, that is a kicker. And so once you know what weak ones are, you leave it alone, because it's not nice to point to those who didn't get a good shot to begin with. And those who don't understand it, again, they don't understand it because they don't have the compassion or the education to understand. If I plop you in front of that 0-1-year-old in the fetus and all that, you're going to find out why. I know we will find out, because science don't lie, because they're continuing to prove it. You see what I'm saying? They don't have a story for you. They have data. And then they have a lot of good information. And with neuroplasticity, they show you how you can heal yourself, the bright sides of it, like how you can shut yourself in armor and stay shut out. So they're not disproving that which is spirituality. They're actually telling us exactly where all of our bodies are headed. The ones who are resisting it are the only ones who will continue to do what they're doing. But that's why we don't point the finger, and they continue to basically hang out with each other and not want to be around everybody. Like the flat earthers, they only hang out with each other because they don't like to be around the round earthers. Some of us like to be around all people. And so, again, at the end of the day, it's really fun to be in the 5D frequency and beyond. It's really sad to see that 3D, 4D will continue, but I get it. We need someone to give those who want to live that type of lifestyle a place they can call home, and that's because they don't really like the ventral energy. It gets annoying, makes them feel under pressure. It's only soothing when they need to rest, because that's how every now and then the body will just want to be a minute safe. And so you just allow yourself to remember that, to strengthen courage, comfort, and support. And so again, you treat others the way you would want to be treated, and so you treat them how they ought to be, which will mean that they can continuously choose if they ever want their A game. And that's why the great therapists, they're all amazing. And I loved when I got to finish all my classes and they're like, don't worry, everything's fine, everybody's gonna get there. And I'm like, well, I don't know about that, because a person made a good point, and Gabor Mate is one of them that she mentions in the classroom, and I'm like, yeah, I think he's pretty spot on. And so is Dr. Amy Pegan, and so is Robert Spolsky with Determined, because a bunch of people like to tell me, I found it hard to believe. The first is that they don't believe in science, but they believe in the word demon or evil, and then they believe in shaming each other. Let me think about that one. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I know what they're trying to leave behind. It's not grit in the real way, because grit means that you know how to turn the other cheek, and then to know what knowledge is, and not to want to perpetuate ignorance or stereotypes or generalizations and good groups and bad groups in a way of a child. Good group, knowledge, manners, words, eloquence, intelligence, go to school, continue to learn, use your ventral vagal state, and no, we don't need our sympathetic with our brothers and sisters. So you see, but that's where it's a bigger picture. So more of us who are integrated, as Dr. Daniel Siegel would say, the more of us will be integrating together and sharing with each other how we can achieve that best, because there's kindness, compassion, there's differentiation, so you're able to be in a room full of people. Like, this is the part of where you don't reject people. I don't need to cut anybody out of my herd. There's no saga with twin flames or any of that. Actually, you will know if you're an empowered feminine exactly what's taking place, which is why you don't need a coach or a guide for that, but a mentor to support you. I'm it if you want. one-to-one or group, or basically when we get our journal prompts for the 8th and 9th chakra, we're going to have group work, because that's fun. That way we can continue to create more of the elasticity of the emotional resilience and the neuroplasticity. I met a guy who talked about how amazingly his brain worked to heal itself, and that's why it's freaking awesome. Every 24 hours counts. So besides your body, once you're in the ventral vagal state, this 6 to 8 weeks with new synapses connections, there's a refractory period, and then 3,000 times more effective in your communication, or the brain and its communication. And neuroscientists will tell you how you move from selflessness, timelessness, to effortlessness, to richness when you're going with the flow. I know all about it, and moving from light body, light body, light body to rainbow body, you know. And when you're back into your real self, that meaning you're connected to pure consciousness, pure energy, like, wow, I'm back to me again. That's how it felt when I got into the Enlightenment Soul Age group. And so it's not a special soul age group, by the way. It's a soul age group for those who are not going to learn about their self with the people and around each other. So at the end of the day, again, we will be back with more. Like, subscribe, share. There'll be lives, and have a good one. Be yourself. Leave the children with that beautiful example, and then it's not about perfection. We all will make mistakes. We can say we're sorry like grown-ups, and then we can, in fact, continue to show healthy perfectionism. Because I know some people think that we are expecting excellence. When I say excellence, it's excellence based on your subjective experience and obviously what you're able to bring forth. But the foundation is important, and so the mindset. And with that, everything else will come easily over time, because it gets easier to think and easier to feel, and it's easy to have fun in life. Because really, dark matter, dark energy, don't implode. Please, scientists, keep looking into how to get us off the planet. I'm okay with you scientists. I really am. Because seriously, the ones who live in fictitious land, they're the ones who are starting to say there's no planet, it's a virtual reality. It's like, okay, you know what? Alice in Wonderland went down that hole. I mean, really, the rabbit hole is kind of big. So I'll stay grounded in reality and continue to bring it all in. It's fun. It's fun. All the stories. And I'm going to look forward to seeing what comes up for our lovely timeline. That's Mystic Talk. So anyways, enough with me. Have a good one.